Hey, it's your girl Kellia. I am on day 4 of the C. Jane Wright November Writing Challenge. And I'm trying to do a daily video. We'll see how long I keep it going, but this is day 4 so far. So yesterday I got a chance to write a poem based on one of the writing prompts that Javacia from C. Jane Wright gave us. That writing prompt was called Autumn Glow. And if you want to hear the poem that I wrote, I recorded it for my March 31 poetry podcast, and I did link that podcast, which is on Spotify. So you can either go to Spotify and find my March 31 poetry podcast on Spotify, or you can use the link that I put into my Substack, my ivywriter.substack.com Substack, where I'm putting all of these daily videos, and all of my writing journey for the month of November. So if you want to hear that poem, please go there. And if you missed my daily videos 1 through 3 so far, please go to that site also, ivywriter.substack.com, to see all of those videos. All right, so for today's video, I just wanted to share some of the tools I'm using. So I think yesterday I mentioned I set up a writing notebook using one of these Be Rooted, very lovely spiral bound notebooks. BeRooted.com, I believe, is their website. They make very, I'll say, Afrocentric and culturally based stationery, which is very fun to use on a daily basis. So I'm using that as my writing kind of planner, to jot down ideas, to write my poems, to write out a schedule of my writing and all of that. That's what I'm using that for. But this morning I also watched a video about how to create an author's notebook. And it's by an author named Wallissimo. Her name, Wallissimo, on YouTube. And she created an author's notebook based on like one particular book she's writing. So it's a project notebook. So I'm gonna try to create and work on that for myself this week, setting up myself an author notebook for my one book, because I kind of want to see stuff spread out on a page. Although I use like Trello to do a lot of my book formation and format and all of those things, and the chapters, and it's great to do it in digital because you can do it on the go and wherever you are. However, I do want to see it on paper, and spread out. And that way you can scratch stuff out and jot down new ideas and then implement those into the electronic or digital form. So I'm going to try my hand at setting up an author's notebook. And then I also, with my poetry, although I usually just write freestyle and freehand poetry, I sometimes get stuck for wording and stuck for ideas and things to put in a particular poem. So years ago, I had found these poetry planner sheets that I think are used for kids, and for, teachers use them in the classroom for students, but they work perfect for anybody who's trying to plan a poem. So this one in particular is called a poem planner, if you can see it. And it is by a group called Game of Awesome. They're out of New Zealand, Game of Awesome. It's the Ministry of Education there. So I'm kind of like their Department of Education. Like we had a Department of Education. Don't get me started on that as an educator. Yeah, we had a Department of Education. Anywho, this resource is from the New Zealand Department of Education. And it's a poem planner. And basically you pick out, just like you're planning a story, you pick out a character, object, action, location. What is the poem about? What can it be summed up as? What's your idea? How should the poem make the reader feel? What feelings and thoughts do you want the reader of your poem to have? And then some interesting words. What are some words that will be useful in the poem? So it just makes you kind of map out your poem before you write it all out, and helps you get new ideas about it. Because sometimes I write and I'm using the same words all the time, and I'm like, okay, time to switch it up. And then this other thing is called a poetry language planner, and it's out of the UK, teachingideas.co.uk. And it's called Poetry Language Planner. And helps you think of the best words and phrases to use in your poetry. And really, it's taking you back to elementary school with nouns, verbs, alliteration, adverbs, metaphors, personification, simile, and my favorite word to say, onomatopoeia. So I bet most of y'all can't say that or know what it means. Onomatopoeia is words that sound like the thing they are describing, like whoosh, smash, growl, pop, crunch, clap. Who knew? Okay. But these are things we learned a long time ago in elementary school, but most of us have forgotten the meanings and how to use a lot of these words. So this is a poetry language planner to help you figure out the specific types of words to use, so that also, again, you don't use the same words over and over and over. So I just wanted to share that with you this morning. I guess this is a teachable moment. I am an educator, so I guess I just had a little mini class there. And so, yeah, I wanted to share that with you. That's what I'm doing and working on today, and for, the month of November. So I hope to use those tools in the poetry I'm creating from the prompts that we're getting, and to just use those, the writing planner and the author's notebook to plan out my book a little bit better. I will share parts of my book probably towards the end of the month, and what I'm doing. I might share a couple of characters before the end of the month, but I'll keep you up to date. So if you are also doing a writing challenge for this month, please share in the comments what that writing challenge is and how you're doing on it and what type of project you're doing. All right. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe to my ivywriter.substack.com newsletter so that you can stay up to date on everything. My March 31 poetry podcast, again, is on Spotify, and I also have an Ivy Writer podcast on Spotify that's brand new. All right, thank you. Have a great week. Peace.